my character's name is Mandy Bloom, which I think is the most adorable name ever. And we were saying you should like steal it from the text. Like his character explains my character as very guileless and open, and that's exactly how she would be described. But I love this character. I feel like you can really relate to her because everyone's had that feeling of coming into an environment where like everybody knows each other and you're like the one man out and you're just trying to make a good impression. And she definitely puts her foot in her mouth several times in this show, but I love watching her grow and the confidence grow, and how she interacts with the characters is really fun from the beginning to the end. There's a lot more to Mandy than meets the eye, so come and watch it.
Richard is older than Mandy, but she's changed him, and I think he's a. He says he's a good man. But I think what's most interesting about him is that he was an argumentative fighter and finally found someone who just made him relax and say, oh, wait, life is easier if you just say yes and look for the good. And I think he's got these lifelong friends that he's almost knee-jerk wants to fight with because that's their way, that's what they've always done, and that's comfort to them. And he's at a point in his life where he's like, no, wait, it's easier to be happy. Or it's worth the work to be happy.
Yeah, right.
And I think that's an interesting place in someone's life.
I play Sarah Goodwin. She is a war photographer. And that was a good hint about stealing from the text. At some point I said something about not being able to sit still. And I think I begin the play, I don't think it's giving anything away to say that I begin the play with some really severe injuries sustained through a roadside bombing over in the Middle East, and have been forced to stop. And I think that just rubs against her need to keep on the move. I think a slightly addictive personality that's addicted to adrenaline and fighting. And really, you know, I think she has both sides. I think there's part of it that is just about some need in her to feel most alive when she's facing death, and then a fighter in her who really believes that she can do some good by recording and capturing evidence of what's going on over there and forcing people to pay attention.
I play James Dodd. James is a freelance journalist who has spent all of his professional career covering the most dangerous places in the world. And as Eleanor was speaking to, these foreign correspondents have been sometimes labeled as adrenaline junkies. And I think there is an element of truth there for both of these characters, possibly more so hers. But they've spent years on the front lines of wars. And something happens to James that shakes his perspective of how he sees the world. And when he comes home, he has to kind of deal with that and reassess his relationships to his work and his emotional relationships. And that all plays out during the course of the play.